Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Nerds Domain podcast. It is a special episode because not just Rick is here, but we're also live at the the Blue Box in Elgin. It's a Blue Box Cafe. Fantastic place. Lots of good stuff. I suggest the smoothies. I'm not a coffee guy. Are you a coffee guy, Rick?
I can love coffee.
I should mention we're a PG podcast, PG-13 podcast. That's a good place to start. That's okay. Yeah, we'll work through it. So, Rick, you're here this week to talk about your book, Seventh Age Dawn, right? Okay. For some reason in my mind, I think it's Dawn Seventh Age. You would think a book that I bought twice, I would know what it's called. So tell us about what Seventh Age Dawn is kind of themed wise, and then we'll get deeper into it.
So you're asking a writer to talk about their book, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can.
Oh, I mean, totally.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is that the book's concept is based off the idea that the Illuminati, the Masons, and all these other secret societies in the world, they've had magic for centuries. And what happens in Chicago when a group of anarchists decide to level that playing field and give that magic to everybody in the world? You can cure cancer or be immortal, just do what those guys have done for centuries. Summon up a demon, kill it, eat its heart.
Okay.
It's bound to go over well, right? I mean, when everybody starts doing that, just a little demon heart for snack, and next thing you know, you're good to go, and you're an immortal creature.
Okay.
So it's a sarcastic tale about the end of the world when magic and myth come crashing back into it.
Excellent. So this is your first book.
Yeah.
In and of itself. I play in a game based off of this world, or at least I guess based far in the future of this world.
Right.
Far in the future. So what was kind of the core of what led you this direction?
So the core is I've always been fascinated with how we as a culture rewrite holidays and histories and things like that. And so, something like Christmas has its origins in different places and different myths and legends that we forget as time and time goes on. And what would happen if, those things had eventually come crashing back? There's a lot of urban fantasy out there. There's a lot of post-apocalyptic novels out there, but all of them keep the magic hidden. So I really wanted to play with what happens when magic isn't hidden.
Okay. And so it's a hefty book. I mean, this is not a small book. We've got a lot here going on. What is it? I'm just going to flip through the back.
350 pages.
350 pages?
114,500 words.
Wow. Because, of course, you know these numbers, right? So it's been out for a little bit. You're working on the second book in this, because it is going to be a larger series.
Yep. This came out actually in January. It was published by The Nerdist. I'd won a contest.
Okay.
And actually, funny enough, I actually get to say this in the first time. I got nominated for Dragon Award for the best post-apocalyptic fiction of 2017.
Excellent.
So,
well, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
So
I like having an audience. It's odd. We're used to talking to ourselves. So
I am going to give this away to one of the people
excellent.
out here.
There you go.
Based off a question that I have later.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
The story follows a character who I read. He's a construction worker, right?
Right.
Sorry, I read the first chapter and then realized that I had a lot of other stuff going on. So then I bought it in an audiobook last week and I haven't got to get to it. I'm reading the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is a little bit heavier than this.
Oh, yeah, just slightly.
So I'm working that way. But so it follows the main character as he's experiencing this world change.
Well, actually, even just what you're reading now, the other thing, one of the big parallels that I had was secret societies like the Thule Society and all these other things using occult or mysticism for their own personal gain and power. And in my book, you follow a character that this construction worker who kind of hates it. He hates that these societies run us. And there's a great story about this, because one of the things in Chicago that I've actually done was I was demolishing the Chicago Board of Trade during its reconstruction. And when I was in the Board of Trade, I was taking off panel boards from behind the president's office. And baked into the wall, hidden in the concrete, was alchemy guild symbols. And all these other like crazy slogans like a man's only measure is how much wealth he can generate, hidden behind things and walls. And it was kind of creepy to know that these people that sit in powerful institutions in our world have this stuff hidden in their walls behind them.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that. I'm glad I don't live in Chicago now. So you've got 350 pages here. It follows the story. This is out in January. You're writing the second book now.
Right.
So that's coming sometime near in the future.
Right. The second book, yeah. I'm still 30,000 words into that one, and
you got a little bit more writing to do.
Yeah, a little bit more.
But still, I mean, given that's January and it's only
Right.
9 months later, you're doing pretty good. Pretty well received from what I saw of the reviews. Most people like it. Obviously not for everybody. Not everybody's a dystopian future kind of guy.
And if you're not, if you're looking for urban fantasy with that like paranormal romance bent, I am absolutely not for you.
Right.
If you do not like your vampires burning horribly in the sunlight, also not for you.
Right. Well, you take a lot of the tropes of those genres and kind of mush them all together too, right?
Right.
So we're not just looking at vampires; we're looking at all kinds of other creatures.
Fairies, different legends, demons, angels, all kinds of, myth. Like there's this Luchriza, the Luchriza, the Owl Witch, which is like this North American legend in sort of that Texas, Arizona area.
Okay.
As an example of a crazy kind of American folklore that would even make it start returning to this world.
Okay. So there's some similar theming to American Gods.
Well, it's very. I mean, even on the back of the thing, it actually says inspired by American Gods.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of what Gaiman did there, you've just done in a very different way.
Right.
But there's plenty of room for that because we don't get enough of that. I think that's fantastic. I don't know. Tell me more about the book. I don't have any specific questions, but like,
my favorite scenario to talk about with the book is just sort of how Stephen King had this advice for all writers out there, like when you're going to write something, try to write what you know, right?
Okay.
And in real life, by day I'm a construction worker and an electrician perhaps, and so when I was in Chicago, another story was I was down in these old like CTA tunnels, like well beneath the city, and I'm going through and I'm opening up these doors to these telephone closets, and it's completely dark. You just hear the sound of water dripping. You can't see anything. I have a small flashlight, and so I can only see the walls right in front of me. And I open up the door to this telephone closet, and you feel this wash of fluid move down over my legs.
Oh.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I shine my light down, and I realize that everything down there is moving and writhing and wiggling. And I realized I opened up a CTA closet to a cockroach nest that flew over my legs. I screamed so loud, and I go running out of these tunnels all the way up the ladders, all the way up to the top, and I'm screaming the whole way because I can feel them, like, and just screeching. I get out there, and my foreman's looking at me. He's laughing at me. He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I am never going back down there." My wife made me take off my I had to burn the clothes before I could get in my car. But to this day, beneath the city in Chicago, there's an open telephone closet that I refuse to go back down and close.
No, that's fair.
And
cockroaches are like sand.
Right.
You're going to find them for years.
So, but that kind of encounter, urban exploration and things like that, those kind of things make it into the book. And there is a scene in the book where the character Mike is down in a tunnel where this demon made of insects is sort of like writhing along the walls and whatnot. He finds himself in over his head. But
as you do with demons made of insects,
right.
Yeah.
But that's the scene was actually based off my encounter down there, but how it gets sort of like warped through. And when Stephen King says like, write what you know, just take inspiration from your real life and then.
Well, I mean, this isn't a book about an electrician that does some construction stuff. This is a book about that construction worker interacting with this strange world that your mind has warped into its whatever.
Right.
This weird thing you have, which. Yeah, that's what we want. That's what we need.
Somebody summed up the book best to me. That it wasn't even me. They said it's about power.
Okay.
The book is about power and the misuse of it.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about a little bit more of your writing. You're writing for...
Yeah, so other stuff that I do nowadays, I write for Geek and Sundry, and I do this thing on how to like run games, like tabletop, like role-playing games, RPGs, and I write for this show called GM Tips with Satine Phoenix, and I do, I've been a storyteller for 19 years now.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so I do two things. I try to find cool, geeky things that are out there and write articles about them to shine a spotlight in these games, but also how to tell a storyteller, or how to be a storyteller better, how to hit the five senses, how to work on those things, which is a lot of fun to remind people that, you are there in a scenario to have a good time, but how to create that sense of immersion.
Okay.
And other than that, I have helped with some other game line writing, and I stay very much in this dystopian commercial consume type world where everything's tongue-in-cheek about cybernetics and where we're going as a country and transhumanism, weird stuff with medical advancements, and I spin that stuff into game lines like Shadowrun or other stuff.
Well, that's definitely a good line to run to spin that into.
Right.
Okay. So, book is available on Amazon and Audible.
It's on Audible. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's any of your local bookstores if you walk in and want to order it. Any of those platforms, you just type in Seventh Age Dawn and you can find it.
Excellent. So definitely a book worth checking out. And a lot of this came from your role-playing over the years.
Right.
What have you been playing? Because the Nerds Domain is all about all kinds of stuff.
Nerdy stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So secretly, I am a hardcore White Wolfer.
Yeah.
And also a big fan of Shadowrun.
You mean Onyx Pather?
No, I have too many trench coats to call myself the Onyx Pather.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
There's another game line called Innomine. That not a people have heard of, about a lot of angels and demons sort of like battling for the symphony and so really those two games are what I sort of gravitate to, but specifically in that Onyx path is Wraith the Oblivion. Is where I stay, and then this other game line called Eclipse Phase.
Eclipse Phase is good stuff,
which is sort of this transhumanist sci-fi in space. Like you can do whatever you want in the game system. You're just super far in the future. Ghost in the Shell-us, type stuff. So that's where I've been sticking to, and why I got started writing in anything had begun because my players would go from game to game to game, and when a game ends, people would feel sad. And you want to pay some level of tribute to the memories that you guys had. So a lot of my writings are always inspired in some way by what players in a game had done or characters that had been around. So they become more than just bar stories.
Okay. All right. And actually, I play in the 7th Age LARP, which is run in Indianapolis like once a month.
With a weird alternate storyline.
It's very weird.
I gotta have a nice, fun conversation with Jason Piercy and James, who may listen to this.
Yeah, they may.
I know who you're killing, guys. I know who's dying. I know who they wrote in, and I'm raising an eyebrow.
Yeah, well, and obviously with White Wolf stuff, LARPing is a big part of what you've done as well, I take it.
Right. Well, I mean, I grew up in '96 when we were hanging around on the Riverwalk with our trench coats on, and everybody thought that we were crazy weird cult kids, and really we're just running around playing live action D&D.
Yeah. Not too far off though. I mean, you're werewolves or vampires or something weird.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, D&D. You're a
That's
thief.
True.
You're a fighter. You're a half orc. Things like that. Fantasy is fantasy. Fantasy is all weird, and we love it because it's weird.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So if someone were looking for other inspirations like 7th Age or that went into 7th Age besides American Gods, where else does that come from? Constantine. Oh, now hold on. Constantine. the show or the movie or Hellraiser the book?
Ooh.
Because there are three different things, and I don't know that I dislike any of them.
I do not dislike them, but in my case, it came more from the movie.
Okay. The first movie with Keanu
Yes,
Reeves? Okay,
yes.
I can accept that.
I really just liked that theme of personified, sort of that angel and devil things where they have personalities and the motives are more gray.
Okay.
So that would be another one. And then there's this fantastic book by Terry Pratchett called Good Omens. Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Comedy book. Absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend.
Which is coming to
show now.
TV. Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was TV or movie, but yes, it's coming soon.
But those kind of things. I mean, because Good Omens is, the end of the world with a sarcastic bent to prevent it. Where I deviate, and it's not that big of a spoiler, is that I end the world.
Right, right.
Like that happens super early on in the book. So,
and then it's dealing with the fallout of that. Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, where can we find you social media wise?
So I have this handle, Cranky Bolt, a cranky, angry bolt.
Okay.
And you can find me anywhere: Facebook, Cranky Bolt; Twitter, Cranky Bolt; email, Cranky Bolt. On games like League of Legends, Cranky Bolt.
Okay.
Diablo, Cranky Bolt.
Okay.
So I've maintained the same handle for 15 years.
That's impressive. It's tough to do that sometimes.
Other than that, you can find my articles and me on a show at Geek and Sundry. Just look for things related to game mastering. And if you want, I can ask the question.
Absolutely.
All right. So, since we're live and we actually have people here, for the people who are live, I'm going to give one of these away. And the question, though, to see who can answer it, because based off the idea of rebranding holidays and things like that, we're coming up on Halloween. So this is the perfect time both for this kind of fiction, but also this question. What was Halloween before it was Halloween? Where did this come from? Close. You're going a little bit back further, but that's around the 1812. Rudy Kipling's Book of All Hallows Eve is right there where you're spot on, or the book, or yes, it is Samhain.
Excellent, Samhain.
Samhain, it is. So back in the Ireland Gaelic times, they had Samhain, and these AOC was what they were called. They were like these spirits that would walk around and the world would be thinner on this particular evening. And so people would engage in a practice called mumming or guising, where they would wear costumes and go throughout the streets to engage in merrymaking to either scare the AOC away or pay tribute to them. Now, what happened is as time went on, they changed, as time went on, the myth got turned into All Hallows Eve, which was about protecting your children from being stolen from the monsters in the night. And so you would dress your kids up in costumes so that they would masquerade as the critters and spirits of the evening. But the practice of mumming or guising has always stayed true, and then is now trick-or-treating.
So protecting them by dressing up like little kitties and Pooh Bear.
Yeah, that
Okay.
trickster spirits.
Sure. Pooh Bear. Yeah, that's definitely a trickster spirit. I could Winnie the Pooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. And I'll let them clap for a second. I'm not used to clapping. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you real soon.